I've been the most successful to produce the results in the way that we manage our results. But more importantly, today is not about me. It's about helping you make some shifts and some changes in your business, or more importantly, in your personal life. I do believe they go hand in hand, but by a show of hands, who does know who Tony Robbins? Okay, fantastic. Who doesn't know who Tony Robbins is? Is there anybody that's not going to raise their hand no matter what I say? Fantastic. For those who don't know, because there's a couple, Tony Robbins did grow up in Glendora, California. Now he's the quote-unquote most successful life and business strategist. He only owns 105 different businesses. He's coached the presidents of the United States. He's coached Warren Buffett, Steve Wynn, Michael Jordan. Anybody hear of Sean McVay from the Los Angeles Rams? All right, he's the coach yeah, that's right, absolutely, 100%. So I don't know if he's coached him personally, but I've seen Sean at our events. I was going to mention somebody that's a little bit closer to me. His name is Tom Brady. Anybody here Tom Brady? I know we're in LA County, okay? But it's hard to argue that Tom Brady is not one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever live. And guess who's coaching and who's coached with Tom Brady? Tony Robbins. Now I can name a list of individuals that has worked with Tony Robbins for one reason and one reason only: to get results. And if you're here today, I believe you want some results. Yes. But it's the difference between wanting, Carlos, right, and committing. Can we agree that Carlos doesn't want results, but he's committed to his results? Yes or no? How much did he talk about coaching and upgrading and investing and putting in the time, the prospecting, the daily rituals? It was this whole, I don't want to say his whole conversation, but it was a lot of the conversation, yes or no? Yes. Have you heard the saying? If you haven't, well, pay attention to those who are successful. The reason why I'm here today is because I'm very, very dumb. I'm dumb enough to follow a guy who's a lot smarter than I am. And my goal is to close that gap. And I believe if you're here today, part of your goal is to close that gap of where you're currently at today to where you want to be. So how do we really close that gap? By making a decision. By making a decision to ultimately see what it is that you want and make a commitment. Because the reality of it is this: you don't have what you want. You have what you're committed to. Your body, your business, your bank account, your relationships is all the direct reflections of your commitments, not your wants. And I want you to make some commitments to move forward in the direction that you choose to. So I'm committed to participating and playing full out, to maximizing the short period of time that we have together today. Because if I'm flying out here to do something for people that I care for, Bill, and Annabelle has been a great, now close friend of mine, and our mutual friend, Don Hobbs, that actually back in the day used to work closely with Tony Robbins when he worked for Jim Rohn. Actually, the reason why we got connected, we're talking about how these industries are so small, but when you could add value to other people, what do they want to do? They want to refer you out. And because of Don, because of Bill, because of Annabelle, because of all these connections is the reason why I'm here today. And my goal is for this to be one of the best training sessions you guys have one of the best training sessions of the year that you'll ever experience. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. That's my commitment, but it's going to be a mutual street, right? So it's going to come back down to, are you committed to it? So in the short period of time that we do have together today, which, by the way, obviously I'm not Tony Robbins. I'm not 6'7", 295 pounds, right? He's a little bit older than I am. I'm a small town boy from Maryville, Indiana, right? Who's ever heard of Maryville, Indiana? One person. Is it Tina? Tina, what's in Maryville, Indiana? Not much. She had to think about it. She's like, how bad do I want to offend him? There's nothing, right? But here's what I can tell you. I made a commitment at 18 years old, small immigrant boy, first generation. I saw my parents working hard, and I said, you know what? I need to get out of this life. Not that I want to get out of this life, but I believe if you're here today, you want to give more to other people that are in your life. But in order for you to give to other people in their lives, who do you have to give to first? Yourself. So when I made that decision, started listening to Tony Robbins, I said, I'm going to go work for this guy at 18 years old. There's no reason why I should be here. No one's heard of Maryville, Indiana. And if you think about this for a second, have you ever shared your dreams, your aspirations? I want to be able to, as Carlos was sharing, be able to produce over $100 million in gross commissions or in sales volume. Like, some people laugh at those goals. Has anybody ever laughed at your goals, your visions, your dreams? Yes or no? Yeah. Do you think that when I shared my dream, my goal, that I was going to go work for the #1 success coach on the planet at 18 years old from Maryville, Indiana? Do you know how many people thought I was crazy? A lot. And do you know what? I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy for being here today, to really look at these opportunities. And I love what Gina said, because the one thing that's consistent is change. If you're not changing, if you're not adapting in the times that we're living, you are crazy. But you're crazy enough to take a look at this opportunity, this business, this industry called real estate, with maybe a different company or organization, to hear how they're thinking. Because if we're not changing, if we're not growing, if we're not moving forward, it's nature. We die, we diminish. If you're not evolving, if you're not adapting, you're literally falling behind. But it starts with the decisions that you're making every single day. Every single moment you're making these decisions. One decision I'll ask you, if you choose to, if you want to go further down, but one thing that I heard every single person that was up here, coaching, mindset, going deeper, upgrading. I'm going to provide an opportunity for you to go to our first live experience with Tony Robbins in West Palm Beach in November. No one can get in this event, period. Unless you go through me, there's only a select handful of people. I'm one of literally 5 people that Tony's hand-selected to do what I do for Tony. If you choose to invest a couple $1,000, great. It will change your business, your life. But you heard each and every single person up here talk about the power of coaching. Now, if you can be trained by the #1 success coach on the planet for 50 hours, what's the breakdown of that? If you can make $4,200 per hour if you really know your numbers, what are you really worth? We're afraid to make small investments of a few $100s or a few $1,000s. And I heard what you said. I heard some of these coaches are $10,000. It's not to throw around numbers. I remember the very first event I paid for one day was $10,000 just for one event. But the connections and the relationships that I got from that one day, that event, are lifelong lasting, and they continue to pay themselves back. And I think what happens is we get in this mindset where we don't really look at the long-term return on our investments, but what are we asking our clients to do? Invest in who? You. So what are you doing to invest in yourself that allows you to accept that return on the investment? And I love that Carlos is talking about the universe. I know we're in California. Listen, I'm as woo-woo as you can be, right? But I'm also as practical and logical as it can be. And it's a fine balance, right? And I'm not here to tell you, let's go chant, there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds in our garden when we're staring at the weeds. That's called delusion. And the reality of it is we've all been living in a different world these last couple years. And the reality comes down to how you choose to live every single moment is going to be a direct reflection of how you're going to continue to live in the future. But we need leaders. We need individuals that can step up and stand for their own selves, but it starts with their mental and emotional state, right? So this guy, Tony Robbins, has been doing this for the last 44 years. And again, I've just been privileged and honored to surround myself around him for this period of time where I'm nonstop investing and the returns are nonstop because they come back in so many different ways. But one of the questions that Tony, when he first started off, he asked this question. He says, what is the difference? What's the difference that makes the difference? How do you have two people, same market, same economy, right now, that are literally having their best years they've ever had, their best few months they've ever had, yet we have someone in the same office, same brokerage, that person is literally sitting right next to them, and this person is barely producing results. Same family dynamics, their health is off, they don't have time to go work out or take care of their body, and another person is finding the time. What's the difference? What's the difference that makes the difference in any of our successes? What would you all say? If we were to mindset, I love that, 100%. What else would you say? Motivation, time blocking, absolutely. What else? Someone who's a doer, yes. Commitment, yeah. Dedication, yeah. Tenacity. Mental strength and consistency. I love those, right? We just came up with a good 10, 11 different answers, and if we really wanted to, we could come up with another 10, 20, 30, 40 more. And they're all correct, but what it comes down to, listen, I'm going to give you a big, bold claim. And this is not coming from me. I'm sharing tools and principles from the #1 life and business strategist. I'm not claiming he is. Other people claim to be. But he's been around for 44 years doing this work. It's hard to argue that he doesn't produce results. Why? Because we get results. But what it boils down to, any of our success or lack of success comes down to one word. Write this down. You got a couple worksheets. You got a couple worksheets from me, or if you're taking down notes somewhere else, one's a referral form. So part of what I do is the only reason I only work on referrals. The only reason why I got on a flight, I literally got in here past midnight, almost 1 o'clock in the morning, was because Don Hobbs, Bill, and Annabelle. Companies and organizations, I charge them $3,000 to $5,000 for sessions, and we go deeper. Right now, if you have any other companies or organizations, if it's coming from you guys, if it's an organization, you have a referral, I'll give you some added value or whatever you want. If you're like, hey, I got some companies or organizations I'd love for you to work with, write them down. I won't charge them if they're coming from you, but in exchange, you can add a value, or I'll talk to you about that. Referrals are everything, okay? That was the one sheet I want to talk to you about it. There's so much I want to go over with you guys. Literally, there's so much. We can't cover all this stuff, but if you're not asking for referrals every single time you have an opportunity to ask for referrals, you're literally leaving money on the foot, or you're literally leaving money like every single day, right? And there's an art to it, right? But again, I love, because I'm going to reference a few different things. There's so many different directions, right? What Carlos was saying, it's like, if you're not asking people the right questions, but if you're asking to receive, it's different versus adding value. You already know within the first couple minutes I'm going to add value just the way that I started off. Could you all agree with that, yes or no? It also helps that I represent the #1 success life and business strategist. That helps as well too. But there's a strategic art to all of this, right? And it doesn't matter the company, the brand, or the organization. I could be representing Tony Robbins. But you can tell by the way that I'm carrying, how I'm communicating, that I care, that I want this to be amazing. Same thing, it doesn't matter the company you represent. It matters who is behind the company and organization that you're bringing. Does that make sense, yes or no? All right, so the referrals are one thing. If you want to give some referrals, fantastic. But the piece is, then you have another worksheet. That's the thing that we're going to do most of our work on. So here's that answer. Here's that one word that I'm saying that is determining all of your success or lack of success. Comes down to one word. Please write this down. The word is called your patterns. You can write it down wherever you want. If you don't want to write it down, that's fine too. But what are patterns? Patterns are habits, behaviors, systems, rituals, routines, right? But more importantly, it's not the habits and patterns that we're aware of that is determining our success. What's really determining your success in every area of your life or your business are the habits and patterns you are. That's right. Very few people can even share that. I don't know if I heard it underneath your voice, Bill, and he said the ones that you're unaware of. The habits and patterns you're unaware of are dictating everything that you do. Your unconscious patterns are running your autopilot. Some of us got here today. Now, I flew here, but some of us got here behind the wheel of our cars. We didn't even know how we got here, but we arrived. Or you're going to leave here, and you're going to go to the office, you're going to go home. You don't even know how you got home, but you're going to get home. Because we've been so conditioned to run on this autopilot that we don't think a lot. And this is very, very scary if you don't know. Because if you don't know that you don't know, you don't know that you don't know. And it's called unconscious incompetence. Sounds much scarier than what it is, right? So I have this beautiful little girl in my life. Where's my phone? And this girl's name is Stella. If you can see her eyes, she's the cutest thing in the world. I love this girl. And it's my goddaughter. So Stella, when she first started walking, she was unconsciously incompetent because she was tripping over her shoelace. Now, we didn't say Stella can't walk. She was just unaware that the reason why she was tripping and falling over was because of her shoelace. But Mommy and Daddy and Godfather Dragan Slayer, which I go by Slayer, Dragan Slayer, because most people can't pronounce my last name, Bill, just side note. And when Tony Robbins calls you Dragan Slayer, you tend to go by Dragan Slayer. Side note. So Godfather Dragan Slayer says, Stella, you can walk, you're just tripping over your shoelace. Now, Stella's going to keep on tripping over her shoelace until what happens is she can become from unconsciously incompetent to consciously incompetent. She's now aware she doesn't have the skill set to tie her shoelace. until she can develop the skill set to go from conscious competence to tie her shoelace. Now, the metaphor I'm using as a shoelace is we trip over thoughts, emotions, beliefs, internal conflicts, fears, doubts. I'm not enough. It's too difficult. It's too challenging. How am I supposed to make it out in this market right now? It's too difficult. It's too challenging. Why would someone trust me with their largest investment? We have this internal dialogue. But let me ask you a silly question. How many of you in this room, please raise your hand if you do not know how to tie your shoelace? Why? Because we've done it how often? So often. So much. You don't have to think about it. Which is why we're unconsciously competent when it comes to tying our shoelace. But if you don't think that we need to develop this unconscious competence in the most important areas of our lives, if you want to live in a state of reaction where you let the external world, the news, the media, people's agendas, how scare tactics, how the market's horrible, how whatever it is, if you want to let the external world dictate your internal world or be influenced by that, then I will tell you this, you're at the effect of the external world. And if you're at the effect of the external world, then you're still running on unconscious. Because the greatest power that we have to truly unlock and unleash all of our power is to take full control of what we can control, and that's who? Us. Ourselves. But it does require us to be unconsciously incompetent from time to time. Because does anybody in this room know? Can we agree that we need to change some patterns, yes or no?
Yes.
Can we agree that becoming more aware of them actually gives us power, yes or no?
Yes.
And in order for us to do that, we have to identify that we're making these choices and decisions every single moment. Just even twirling your fingers, Angel, just like, or your pen, just like that. These little things are triggers, and the more aware that you can be, we can systematize, we can process that every single morning by 5:30, I'm at F45, or maybe it's 6:15, or I know Tuesday and Wednesday, or Tuesday and Thursday, or excuse me, I confuse the dates, I don't remember your calendar as much as you remember yours, then I go to my men's group, or the call, and then I go to the gym. We have these little pieces, and we can systematize and structure these pieces in our lives. Not only does our business change, but every other aspect of our lives changes. They're so subtle, but yet they're so powerful. But how often are we taught this stuff in school, or this information, to really take control of what we can control? Because in every single moment, we're making 3 decisions. I'd suggest you write these down or don't forget them. And when you can take control of this, and I'm going to give you the decisions you're making here in a second. But I also love what Annabelle said a few moments ago, or before the break. She said, or the question that Bill said, and then what her response to that. How many people prospect 3 hours per day? I think there was like 2 or 3 people, and a couple of them were like kind of half raised. So like I'm kind of sort of thinking about it some days. And then he said how many do it for 4 or 5 days consistently? Yeah, it's kind of like. Then Annabelle said prospecting's hard at first, but then it's like working out. You start doing it, and what happens? It gets easier and easier and easier. Listen, changing your business, changing your life, changing patterns are not easy, which is why most people don't change, which is why we believe it's our culture, why we believe it's our heritage, why we believe it's because I'm a woman, I'm a man, because of how tall I am or how short I am. We come up with these stories instead of making these changes that require us to make these changes. But when we can understand we're making these decisions, and we can start making changes to these decisions, it gets easier and easier and easier. This is again the reason why, if you heard it today, coaching all day long. We're like big kids. We haven't been coached and trained as properly to maximize as efficiently as we can become. And there's nothing wrong with that, just we were coached by the best we could with what we had. Does that make sense, yes or no?
Yes.
So here are the 3 decisions you're making every single moment. First is, where is my focus? What am I going to focus on? Every single moment you're making a focus. You're making a decision. Consciously, most of the time it's unconsciously. Am I focusing on this information here? Is it great? Can I utilize this information? Or is my focus on, I can't wait till this is done because then I get to go out and party for the rest of the day. I'm going to call it an early weekend, right? Your focus focus is going to determine the second piece. Focus, and then you ask, what does this mean? And every single moment, right? Is this focus? The focus of the market. The focus of the marketplace right now is, okay, I love what Carlos said earlier, and I'm referencing a lot of stuff. I like to be in with you guys, right? This isn't something I don't want to just put this together. I want to be here with you guys, right? The lack of prospecting is part of the reason why there's lack of inventory. I love that. And if your focus is there's no inventory, well, what does that mean? It means there's no inventory, and if it means there's no inventory, what's the point of prospecting? Because if there's no inventory, there's no point of prospecting, and if I do get an offer, then there's multiple offers, so it's just this cycle, this loop, and it puts me in a pattern of an unresourceful pattern, and it puts me in an emotional state, which is called my emotional home, which, by the way, you shouldn't be selling homes. You should be selling your emotional home first before you'll ever get to list a home. And your emotional home is the place that you go to under pressure and under stress as a default. Because under pressure and under stress, we're living in a home, and it's called your emotional home. And many people's emotional home is built on sand. And if your home is built on sand and it's about to be an earthquake, then guess what's going to happen to the home? It's going to sink. It's going to be destroyed. Many of us have such weak emotional homes, not because it's by choice, it's because we don't have the tools. No one gave us the foundation. No one gave us the blueprint. So if our focus is off and we have an unresourceful meaning because of our inability to develop our mental and emotional home, then the third question we're always asking is, what am I going to do? Focus, meaning, do. Those are the three questions every single moment you're asking yourself, consciously or unconsciously. So if the focus is, hey, let's take some of these strategies from today, and what's the meaning of it? If I took and applied some of these strategies, I applied them into my business, into my life, and then what if I actually applied them and I did them? Well, what could be a byproduct of that? Listing, could be more income, connect with a new team member, find resources, find... The doing part of it comes down to whatever you choose to do with it. Does this make sense? Are y'all with me, yes or no?
Yes.
Do you understand how powerful patterns really are, yes or no?
Yes.
And we haven't even scratched the surface on understanding patterns, but I want to go back to the pattern of one that's so important. It's called our emotional home. I touched on just a second ago when we were talking about meaning. Listen, our emotional home is so strong, it is so vital. That's like our default. And again, if your emotional home, right, so that's the default place that you go to under pressure and under stress. So if your emotional home is, well, let me give you an example. My brother, back when we were growing up, definitely younger beforehand, less mature, his default emotional home when he was challenged or when he was upset, he'd yell, he'd like get angry, he'd break stuff. Anybody know somebody that's their emotional home? Yeah, right? And there's nothing wrong with it, but that's the emotional home. The tendency right now, the emotional home in real estate, a lot of individuals that are not producing, their emotional home, they get stuck. They're like paralyzed. They're overwhelmed. That's the emotional home. And you will always revert back to your lowest level of training. I'm going to say that again, but before I say that, I'm going to give you a concept that if you take this concept, will transform your life. The training never ends. The training never ends in your body, in your relationships, in your business, in your spiritual connection to your Creator, to the universe, to Buddha, Allah, whatever it is, the training never stops. You can have the most fit body that you've ever had, and it took you 10, 12, 15, 20 years to get there. You trained properly every single day. You ate clean. You did what you needed to do. You pushed yourself for 15 years. I want you to imagine that really quickly. Imagine your dream body. Fit, toned, tightened, ripped, six-pack, biceps. Ladies, you look beautiful and sexy in your dresses. Guys, your chest is popping. Your guns are popping. Feel nice, yes?
Yep.
And then you stop doing what you did to get that body for 2 weeks, for 2 months. for 2 years. Are you going to have the same body, yes or no? No. So we expect to have the same business that we developed that we haven't even started, or some have started, but if you're not consistently doing what you did, because the training never stops. And you will always revert back to your lowest level of training. Which is why I started off earlier saying, I know we're in LA, I know many of you may not be Tom Brady fans, quote unquote, but it's hard to disrespect this individual because the level of dedication and training that he's put into himself. He's not always had the best players around him, but what he's been able to do is maximize his talents to maximize the talent around him. And again, it's not whether you like him or hate him or whatever. It's hard to argue that most people don't know, or it's hard to say that most people don't know, or at least have heard the name Tom Brady. Because the training never ends. And what was his saying when they asked him the question, hey Tom, what's your favorite Super Bowl? Yeah. Does anybody know what his response is, or was?
The next one.
The next one. Yep. Because the training never stops. But I also want to pause, and I want to make sure that you understand that it's not that you have to achieve to be fulfilled or success to achieve success. And in fact, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. If we live here, and I've been a resident of LA, I've lived in Hollywood, I've lived in Marina Del Rey, I've lived in Venice Beach, I've lived in the hills. So I'd say living in LA, we've been exposed, or LA County, we've been exposed to a lot of different individuals. Celebrities, maybe people of higher status. But does that make sure, just because someone has more cars or more homes or a lot of extra more zeros in their bank account, does that guarantee fulfillment? Yes or no? No. That's right, oh no. And in fact, that's 100%. And in fact, some of the most successful people are the most distraught. Because the external rewards or the external success does not provide the internal fulfillment. So what if we can go out there, and even though it sucks to prospect from time to time, what if we can shift our psychology? What if we can change our mental and emotional state? So maybe we're just tripping over a shoelace instead of saying, hey, there's no way this is going to work. Or we create these patterns that we can actually have fulfillment out of it. Again, I love just a lot of the stuff that was said today. Why are you doing it if you don't like it? Well, sometimes you have to do stuff you don't like and learn to like it. Because, I mean, I really don't know how many people actually love to prospect, right? There are people that love, but you can learn to love it, or you can learn to appreciate it. But these are all patterns, right? Slight little distinctions. But you can have the best strategy, you can have the best scripting, you can have the best lists and presentations, but it's still you that's showing up. Because Carlos was sharing you wouldn't be in the business and the industry you're in because their problems would already be solved. Gina, when Bill was asking, Gina, what's one of the differences that you see in top producers that average or mediocre producers don't have? They look at problems and they look at them as opportunities. You want to invite these problems. I'm not saying go create problems, right? Because many people are good enough at that themselves, self-imposed problems. But you have to solve problems in this business. And the better you're at solving your own problems, because you can understand that life is patterns, and you can solve problems, then you can actually anticipate these problems. You could actually not only anticipate, but you can create and you can resolve these problems because you know the road ahead. Life is all patterns. What happens, now we're in spring, what happens after spring? What season is it? Summer, right? After summer, what happens? Then it's what season? Fall. After fall comes what? And then after winter comes what? Spring. And just like our clients, they have problems. There's patterns. And the better that we're at understanding our problems, our patterns, the better that we can understand our clients' problems and patterns, the more effective and more efficient that we can be. Another LA great for a period of time, Wayne Gretzky, I played for the LA Kings. His philosophy was, I don't go to where the puck is, I go to where the puck is going to be or go. right? Can we agree that things and times have been changing quite a bit, yes or no? And can we agree that things are not going to stop changing, yes or no?
Yes.
And can we agree that a lot of people are still stuck in their ways and wish that if things wouldn't change, they're just not going to change because things shouldn't change, yes or no?
Yes.
And they're the ones that are going to be falling behind. Life is changing. Life is always adapting and evolving. So if you're not changing, if you're not unlocking and unleashing all the power and potential you have within inside of you, then you can't blame anything else if you're not willing to adapt and make those shifts and changes. Make sense, yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Fantastic. 3 pillars to having massive success really quickly, okay? Now these are not coming from me, these are coming from Tony Robbins. Again, I'll share this. This guy only owns 105 different companies and businesses, one of them being the LA Football Club here in Los Angeles, stem cell company, AI company, the company that I'm partnered in with his education company, right? And in all of his organizations, these 3 pillars are mandates, which means they're mandatory. Really simple process, really simple philosophy. Tony also says complexity is the antithesis of execution. All it means is when you complicate things, you're less likely to follow through. We tend to complicate stuff because we think if it's simple, it doesn't work. Actually, simple is quite effective and really, really effective, right? So here are the 3 pillars. SAM, that's the acronym. SAM. The S stands for strategies, right? Can we agree that we learned some great strategies today, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay? Strategies are only 10% of your success. Strategies are your business plan. It's the knowledge, it's the information, it's the tools, right? Your business plan. I don't know who is Amber Rose. Yeah, I heard when you asked Carlos, you said, what's your goal and what's your why? I couldn't see who you were. I just heard the name. Did you see how clearly and effective he was when it was stating his goals? How many of you in this room right now are so clear and specific and you know exactly what your goals are? A couple people and still the hands are kind of like halfway, right? When you know for certain, your body language does not lie. Does that make sense? And I'm not saying, and even if you know exactly what it is, right? We go through different seasons and stages, and in this season, maybe you're single or married, you have kids, or your kids are going off to college, or possibly college, right? Right? And during these different seasons, things shift and change. So I'm not saying this has to be the one definition of success, but your strategies or your life plan, your business plan, your goals, and many people don't even have the 10%. Now, again, strategies and business plan are extremely important. That's why we need coaches, we need structure, we need tools, we need processes to follow, but it's only 10%. I'll go back to my story really quickly out of Maryville, Indiana. At 18 years old, when I said I was going to go work for Tony Robbins, there was not a strategy, there was not a book that said this is how you get a job working for Tony Robbins. When your why is large enough, when you have a strong enough why you're doing what you're doing, if it's for the money, for the car, for the kids, for building a legacy, you'll always find the how-to. You'll always come up with a strategy. You'll find out that one strategy that doesn't work, so you'll change another strategy. And then you'll change to another strategy. And then you'll change to another strategy. When your why is large enough, you'll keep on changing until you find the right strategy. Tony Robbins, our company, our organization, we're not pump up, we're not positive thinkers, we're not telling you to jump up and down, clap up and down, and tell you to go sing Kumbaya and rah rah, okay? Far from it. Tony Robbins is a life and business strategist. His goal, our goal, is to find the best strategies. But strategy is only 10%. Make sense, yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Second pillar, the A stands for action. You can have the best strategy on the planet. Again, we've talked about strategies today, but you have to do, how many calls are you making? How much time are you prospecting? How much time are you having these conversations? What's your talk time with these conversations you're having? How qualified are they? Are you in this business for a day, for a week, for a month? Is this a hobby? Is this a career? Is this your mission? Right? Based on what this business is, remember, focus meaning do. If this is your mission to help people solve their problems, then it's different than someone that's just trying to make a commission from week to week just to pay the bills. Focus meaning do. But what are the actions that you're actually taking? How many times are you asking for referrals? What are you doing for follow-up? What are you doing to put people in your database and to work the process? Strategy and action plan, okay? Or strategy and action, excuse me. It's 20% of success in your business. Can we agree that those two are huge, yes or no? Yes. Oh, I don't know if I believe you guys. Yes or no? Yes. Right? And the reality of it is this. Just about any agent could go out there and find the strategies, get the action plan, find out what action to take. And I'm not saying that everybody has access to all of that, but if you're hungry enough, if you're committed enough, you can go out there and find just about any strategy, any scripting, any information. The strategy and action plans are out there, which is great because that, again, is only 20% of success in your business. I don't know about you all, but if I'm hearing this for the first time, or maybe you've heard this, but I'm getting excited. Why am I getting excited? Because everybody has access to, or can gain access to, the strategy and action plan, not only in this business of real estate, but how to lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, 100 pounds, how to have more loving, passionate, juicy, intimate, sexy relationship. That's still only 20%. 80% is the reason why Tom Brady consistently works with Tony Robbins. Why Michael Phelps, the most Olympic, most arguably greatest Olympian on planet Earth, with the most gold medals, works with Tony Robbins. Why Steph Curry from the Golden State Warriors, the best shooter, arguably, works with Tony Robbins. Why the best of the best work with the best of the best? Because it's not so much strategy and action plan when you get to a certain level. What distinguishes you or the person next to you for the individuals that's producing the results or will gain the results and consistently produce the results is the M, and the M stands for your mental and emotional state. 80% of your success is your ability to put yourself in a resourceful emotional state. When you don't want to prospect, when you have that fear, when you have that internal dialogue, when you're feeling challenged, when we all are experiencing all the same stuff we experience, we think that we're the only ones that experience this stuff and we think there's something wrong with us. Yes, there's something wrong with you. You're sitting in it. You're wallowing in it. Versus finding out what it is and how you need to train your mental and emotional state to go out there and produce the results, to have confidence and certainty within yourself. Not fake confidence, not false bravado. I'm a little bit more passionate. I have a cool name. I tend to bring some fire. I'm not asking to be me or Tony Robbins or anyone else. But what I'm saying is conviction can be cool, calm, collected. And not even having to say a damn word. But there's a level of conviction and certainty and trust that your clients feel by who you're being. And if you have fear and doubt in this market and economy right now, and your clients have fear, doubt, and uncertainty, is anyone going to do business with anyone? Absolutely not! Your certainty, your conviction has to overcome and smash their doubt. Because if you don't, somebody else will. May not be today, maybe tomorrow, but right now is an amazing time to be in this business. Because a lot of individuals who want to be in the business versus there's individuals who are committed to conquering this market. Again, I'm going to reference a couple things that were said earlier. You have to burn your boats, right? Carlos was saying that philosophy that Tony says, the only reason why I'm here today is I burn my boats. I've invested everything I had, and I will continually invest everything I have to do one thing, upgrade. Upgrade the associations that I'm around. Upgrade the level of skill and knowledge. Upgrade the level of uncertainty that I put myself in uncomfortable positions to do what? To develop more strength. Not physical, it could be physical. Mentally, emotionally, spiritual, financially. Why? Because when do we grow? Inside or outside of our comfort zone?
Outside.
Outside of our comfort zone. Yet the moment that we feel a little bit uncomfortable, we feel a little bit nervous, we feel a little bit scared, what happens is we tend to go away from that. We tend to not go away. We tend to not go towards where it's uncomfortable. And this is the reason why there are few people who are living at the best possible version of themselves, and they're consistently upgrading because they know that the moment they get to the top, that somebody else is trying to get there. And I'll give you an example. You know, individuals will come up to Tony and they'll say, Tony, one day I'm going to be just as good as you. And Tony says, I want you to be just as good as me. In fact, I want you to be better than I am. He says, but by the time you get to where I'm at right now, that's where I was. And and I'm going to consistently close the gap, right? Absolutely, my man. Because the reality of it is this: if you're not growing, the training never what?
Stops.
The training never stops. If you're not growing, if you're not closing the gap of the best version that you could be to where you're at, if you're not closing the gap, you're actually making that gap bigger. And you're doing it in inverse direction. Because there's individuals, just like individuals in this room, who are hungry, but it's not about the hunger, it's about the commitment, the discipline, and the willing to put in the work. And most people are not willing to put in the work, they just want the results. And I'll give you the best metaphor. We're talking about psychology and mindset. We understand that strategies and coaching is so important. But if you had the best personal trainer on the planet, and they came to your house 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock, or they met you at group training at F45 or wherever you choose to, or hot yoga or whatever that stuff, right? Wherever, but they laid out all your clothes for you, they made up all your meals for you, they told you what weights to do, they laid it out all for you, they even changed the weight right before the reps, but right before it was time to do the bicep curls or the push-ups or the squats, they said, no, let me do the workout for you.
Where do we sign up?
Where do we sign up? Where we sign up is we watch who gets the results. They get the results. So when you see someone like a Carlos, a Bill, an Annabelle, who she said, my results changed over the last 12 years. These things don't happen overnight. I've been doing this for the last, this is my 11, I've been doing this 11 years, but I've been studying and immersed Tony's material for the last almost 2 decades. Tony's been doing it for 44 years. You have to lift the weights in order for you to develop the muscle. There's no stronger muscle than your head and your heart, your mental and emotional state. But where's the mental and emotional gym? Where do we go to develop these things? It's called life. And we've all experienced life over these last couple of years, and there's been some individuals that have been crushed by it. There was a bigger virus, and that virus is the virus inside their head. And I know that this was something that we all experienced, and I'm not saying it was good, bad, or different, but the strongest muscle that we have is our mental and emotional muscle. We don't have that gym that we can develop. And life will give us circumstances and provide us with experiences for us to test our mental and emotional strength. And we can continue to wait for life to give these tests, to put us in these experiences, or we can choose to be part of an experience. To say, hey, let's get around someone or something and let's be a part of this immersive experience so we can develop this mental and emotional strength. So when the times come, I'm already prepared. I don't have to do the work because I've done the work. I don't have to keep doing the work because doing the work is something I consistently do because it's who I am. It's not what I was or I wish. It's who I am and what I'm committed to. And as you become that person, what happens is you attract those same type of people. The reason why you get referral business or you don't is by the person you become. Birds with a feather. Successful people attract. People who are lazy, who are fearful, who make excuses, find challenges, why things don't work. Who do they find? The same type of people. Misery loves what? Why do we all know these phrases? Because they're true. And the bigger and better a version of yourself that you become, the bigger and better opportunities you come along with the challenges and problems. But instead of them being challenges and problems, these are opportunities for us to grow. And ultimately, here's what I really want to get you guys to understand. Is there anybody in this room who cannot grow? Like, is there anybody who cannot get any better? Please raise your hand if that's you. We'll give you some gold stars, air high fives. Anybody who cannot grow? Everybody in this room, myself included. Okay. Now, I've been doing this for and with Tony in different contexts for 11 years personally, but we can all grow. And what really stops individuals from growing? Fear, doubt, not enough time, or they say they don't have enough time, but the reality of it is you have enough time for what's most important in your life, and if you say you don't have time, just say it's not a priority, because just as busy as everybody's lives, the number one reason why Carlos has 3 hours of prospecting every single day is because it's a what? Priority. It's not because he's got an extra 3 hours per day. You have enough time for what's a priority, right? I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources, and all those things, it's all BS. It's all bullshit. I mean your belief systems. But we tend to believe bullshit, and then we start to believe that's part of our belief system. I can't do this because of this. I can't do this because of that. And what happens is we start to reinforce that. And I'll tell you this right now. Your life is a direct reflection of your beliefs and your patterns. And you will never, ever, ever out-earn, outsell, or outperform your current belief system. Because if you don't have the belief system to be able to make 7, 8 figures or 10 figures in sales volume, you never will. If you haven't updated your operating system since 1998, there's no way that you can install the program Zoom on your computer. If you don't have the updated operating system, you'll never be able to install the patterns, yet it's our patterns that drive everything we do. So when was the last time you updated your operating system? When was the last time you actually took a look at the programming that's running your operating system? Because it's not you that's running you, it's your operating system and your autopilot. See, that was the time to update your operating system. Did you hear that? I planned that specifically. Perfect timing. But the reality of it is this. How often we get dings and notifications that it's time to update our software on our computers or our cell phones. Every 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 5 months, whatever the case is, yet we update the operating system that we use on those devices that we use all day long, but how about the person who's using that device? And again, we're at the effect of the external world, or you're at cause. And when you're at cause, you take full responsibility because your ability to respond effectively. That's the definition of unlocking and unleash your power within. So team, I know I'm getting close on my time frame that I have with you guys. I'm willing to stick around and answer any questions I have. I want to be respectful of your guys' time and also my schedule as well too. But at the end of the day, can we agree that if you make some shifts and some changes to your patterns, you update your belief system, that you could be living a completely different life 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, yes or no? Yes. And what happens if you did that and you made that decision, and not only 3 months from now or a year from now, what about 3 years from now, or 5 years from now, or 10 years from now? You know, like you said, how much you've been able to develop over this last 12 years, right? We overestimate what we can do in a year, but we underestimate what we can do in a decade. I'm looking around this room, and we're all going to be around for another 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How old am I? I'm going to be at least 121 years old. My favorite number is 21, so why not be 121? So I share this with you. If you're not getting better today, the next 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, 50 years is going to pass. No one can dictate your business or your life except for you. And are there going to be external challenges and problems and things in life that's going to happen? Of course. But your ability to react or effectively respond by taking full responsibility of everything you can control and go train, because the train never ends, because as soon as you train, you get to this level, you'll revert back to a lowest level of training. And then you get higher and a higher level of training, and what Carlos said, you upgrade. And the more you upgrade, you're gonna fall back down from time to time, but your new low is higher than it was before, because the training never ends. And what if you did this with the #1 success coach on the planet, and we can guarantee results? Because if you're not getting results, then no one can get results for you, and you're the only person who can tell you if you're getting results or not. This guy's been doing this for the last 4 decades, and it's hard to argue that he doesn't get results. So November 3rd through the 6th is our first live event. Write that down, November 3rd through the 6th in West Palm Beach, Florida. Listen, the last time we did this, we sold this event out in 4 weeks. This is not open to public. Again, no one can, if you said, I want to go to this event and go see Tony Robbins live in West Palm Beach for 4 days, for 50 hours, you can't do it. The only reason why you can do it is because of myself, and I have the ability to do so. In addition to that, anybody that wants to go, you're going to get a free ticket to our event in July. It's a virtual experience. You can do wherever you want. Okay? There's 2 options. The VIP experience, $1,700, or you can do the general admission. It's $1,100. If you got something for me today, if you think that you can go and invest two events, 50 hours. So that's 100 hours for around less than $2,000. If you could get one deal more, and we guarantee your result by this July event, if you don't think it will change your life by the second day, get all your money back. We'll give you some bonuses of whatever you like, or we'll include some bonuses with you for that, so you get some audio programs. If you want to do it, fantastic. But again, I'm here to do one thing: sell you on your potential, not sell you on some program. Because whether you decide to move forward with us or anybody else, the quality of my life is not going to change, nor Tony Robbins. But I do know one thing: anybody that can take full control of their mind and they do it with the best of the best, their life is never, ever, ever the same again. So if you're asking your clients to invest in you, I ask you this: why not invest in you and invest in the number one thing that you have full control over with the number one success coach on the planet? It will be the greatest investment you ever invest in your life. Okay? So I have some forms for those. The only way, again, to do that is through myself. I have some of those forms. I'll answer any questions. And I'll turn it over to Phil or Annabelle, and then however you guys want me to, if I want me to answer anything, or if we're done, you guys tell me. But I want to be respectful of the time that I have, because I could keep going, trust me.
Questions. I mean, if anyone has questions, go ahead and
Raise your hand.
yeah, raise your hand if you have any questions.
Yes, absolutely.
What about LA? Tony Robbins,
No.
out in LA.
No, see, here's the thing. Success is inconvenient. Not convenient for me to drive or fly from LA, or from Miami to here to get in at 1 o'clock to do this for you guys. It's not as convenient. It's not in LA. Yeah, it's in West Palm Beach. Sorry.
I would love to go to
nice.
Florida for the first time.
Fantastic. And do with Tony. But yeah, unfortunately, no, that's the only time that we're going to do that.
West Palm Beach, you cruise over to Mar-a-Lago and go check out Trump.
There you go. Hey, if you're a Trump fan, I'm not making any statements. Absolutely, 100%. But
What
yeah,
event is this?
the Unleash the Power Within. So if anybody's heard of the Firewalk, anybody knows the Firewalk? Yeah, you done it? Let me ask you one word. What was your experience?
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal. She was like, phenomenal. I love it. I'll pay you for that later, right? First day you walk across the hot coals, and then the first day, that's the Firewalk event. So we test you, right, mentally and emotionally on the very first day. So just in case you burn your feet, you can get your money back. That's the real reason why we do it. But no, reality is when you do something you don't think you can do, and that's how we set it up, then you start believing that you can do more. And it's not just learning stuff; it's learning and doing, right? How do we grow? Learn, do, learn, do, learn, do. Coaching's great. I encourage it. But what stops people, even with the best coaching, is we all have internal conflicts. I don't want to say the word, but we're all messed up, right? I was going to say something else. We're all messed up, right? And there's nothing wrong with it, but and everybody to a different degree, and you know what I'm saying when I say that, but we all have things that we can upgrade our programming, our software, but we got to put in the work, and when we're doing this stuff, you're going deep layers and layers and layers, because your conscious mind is not operating you. It's your subconscious mind that's operating you. 95% of what you do is your subconscious mind. And when you can take control, when you can consciously say, hey, I'm going to take control of my subconscious mind and condition and train that, that's when things start to change. That's why we do 4 days where it's uncomfortable and you have to get outside your comfort zone and go so long, because we're bypassing your conscious mind, we're training your subconscious mind. So remember, focus meaning do, you're getting better. We're not tripping over shoelaces. Now hey, I see the shoelace. But when you're around other people that can spot your shoelace before, you can say, hey, I see your shoelace. We speak a different language because you understand you need to change your state, or you need to change your triad, right? Those little pieces make big differences, okay?
Can you stick around just for a few minutes for questions
Yeah.
people have? So let's do this. Let's wrap it up officially. First, you guys get some value today?
Yeah.
Let's thank him for that.
How do they get in touch with you? What's your Instagram or whatever?
Yeah, so 2 things. So all my information is on the forms. So you guys have 2 forms, right?
Yes.
The worksheet, that's my cell phone number. Please, if you have it, I would ask you to not abuse it. If you choose to, in whatever shape or context, that's my email address. The referral form I will take as well too. I'm on Instagram, dragan.slayer. And then for those, this is the most important thing for me, and it's not the most important thing for me, but this is changing your life right here. 100%, and it's a tax deduction because you're an independent contractor. You run your business, it's a tax deduction, right? But this is the most important thing you could do, not for me, for yourself. Don't take my word on it. Follow 44 years of advice that this guy's been doing it, okay? So that's how you guys get in contact with me and all that fun stuff, okay?
Open the floor, Brady, Dragan, asking questions. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
Appreciate it. Fantastic.
Of course.
Again.